Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Monday, November 20th, 2023, and I just saw this morning that Argentina has a new president, ultra-right, as they call it, of course, in the media. Javier Milei has won the presidential run in Argentina, and he was already congratulated by Mr. T. So that's interesting again, with the notion to make Argentina great again. I saw some clips and he is really very based in a way. So we're just going to wait and see, but it's an interesting development. And of course, in this video, I want to take a look at the voting here in the Netherlands that's going to happen. And I'm going to take a look at the week ahead, the energy. So the voting here, Wednesday, we get to vote here, at least if you want to vote. Of course, I keep that option open for everyone. You know, everyone has to decide for themselves. Personally, I'm not going to vote, but I've already mentioned that. So people need to see and you know, how to say this, make a decision themselves what they want to do. But I just wanted to take a look. There's also some talk that there won't be any voting. But I'm like, right now it feels like we are heading that way. So I'm taking a look at the energy when the voting is going to happen. We will have to wait and see what's going to happen Wednesday. I do right now feel like that it will be continued or it will happen. But of course, things can happen. We'll just have to wait and see. So I'm looking at the energy of when the voting has happened. What's going to happen? And are there going to be any shifts going on? Well, the first card I've got is the Hermit. The central card is the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the 9 of Swords in the past. We've got the Page of Pentacles underneath the 10 of Pentacles. Very fast there. And for the future, I have the King of Swords and the Ace of Cups. To me, this says there's going to be a new beginning, a new change there. So the Ace of Cups is you know, an ace, that's usually new beginning. So I think things will come out about this, because the feeling I'm getting, especially with this card, that the status quo will remain as it is. Right now, the narrative in the media here in the Netherlands is usually the same old, same old. There are new changes with new parties, but those parties already have a link with the World Economic Forum, so they're not going to change. But it will seem for people like there's a new change coming. I don't really see that happening, but it's interesting. I think when it's all said and done, maybe there are going to be some changes, you know, that a forum will have some more seats, but ultimately it will be the same old, same old. That's the status quo will be maintained. And I think it has to do because some things have happened, manipulation, the manipulation of the votes. That's the feeling I'm getting. And that most likely is going to have like consequences in the future. That's the feeling I'm getting here with this new beginning. So it's very likely that this will be an opportunity. The Page of Pentacles is always an opportunity that people will see what's going on. The last time that happened with voting here in the Netherlands, more things were coming out that certain votings were delivered wrongly. There were some issues, but it didn't stick. So unfortunately, it really, like what's happening in the USA with all these court cases, that's not what happens here in the Netherlands, not yet. But it's a possibility after this has happened that's why I think the normal status quo ultimately will succeed. There may be some, you know, in the background, some changes that may look like, oh, well, finally they got some more seats for certain other parties. But ultimately, I think the status quo will be maintained, which will be very frustrating, obviously, for the people in the independent, world that do want to see changes. But I think that it will be a bit same old, but this will be an opportunity that things will be shown, that it will be used to, that more things are coming out. Also, the people in the Netherlands need to realize how much has been manipulated, how much has been twisted and turned. And I also see with the Hermit card, people will choose more from what feels right to them. So I do think there's going to be some changes, that people, if they're voting, they will vote more independently and what feels right to them. That's the hermit, the following your own path, the withdrawing from. So it could also mean that not that large of a group are going to vote. It's a possibility, but it's just interesting to see. So the feeling I'm getting is that the Ten of Pentacles, status quo will be maintained. So the like VVD, which is like the biggest party right now from Mark Rutte, obviously. Well, he's not going to be there anymore. We have now someone else in his place, but it's the same old puppets, the same old energy. And then we have a few new parties that are now suddenly a hit. And they are trying to push those parties as well to make people believe or think that there are changes. But like I've mentioned, these parties have ties with all kinds of, BBB, that's supposed to be for the farmers, has ties with Monsanto. Omtzigt, he has developed like this, or at least he created this new party. And really he's connected with World Economic Forum through his wife and through his brother. It's interesting to see. So we're going to wait and see, of course, what's going to come out. But I don't see a big change happening. I don't see some like earth-shocking thing happening that it will completely be turned upside down like what happened in Argentina. Of course, we have different kind of voting. We have a lot of parties. It's not like you vote for like two parties or two candidates for the presidential, the presidential role, because obviously we have a prime minister and we are a monarchy, but not that has to do with, of course, the voting, because we haven't voted for that. They're just there. So this is interesting to see. So we have a different system. It's not comparable to the USA or to other countries. It's more like Germany has a similar system, and Belgium, there are more parties. So they have to kind of get together and try to work together. So that's a different way of looking at things. So that's what I got for the voting for Wednesday here in the Netherlands. For this week, we have the Sun, we have the Ten of Swords, and we have the Knight of Cups. So this week, and this is more of around the world, something's going to happen that's mostly connected with children, especially the Sun card. So something radical could happen. Things about, rings that are happening around the world and how they treat children. We've got the Knight of Cups, so something is given about that. It's also possible with the Sun, the energy is changing, especially with the last weeks, although we're already in a tough time for a couple of months now, or years. It depends on how you look at it. But especially lately, a lot of energies are changing. It's very heavy energy. We are really at for me at least, the end of things. So it's going to get very tough. Things will come up. I will also talk about that in the advice side. But we have the Sun now, the Ten of Swords, and the Knight of Cups for this coming week. In the energies, something radical is going to happen. Something that probably connected with children. Maybe some things are going to come out. We know in America they're still having these trials or things that coming out about Epstein. I just actually shared an article here in the Netherlands in the media this morning about certain rings that they have exposed. It was more on a smaller level, but it is interesting that things are happening and children are more and more protected. And I think that's a good thing. So for advice, we have the King of Cups, we have the High Priest, and we have the Two of Cups. Now this is very interesting because a question was asked in a live. How do you interpret the High Priest? Does that always mean like dark energies and manipulation? It completely depends on the question asked. And this is just advice for coming week. So in that case, I would look at the value someone has, because the High Priest is also about tradition, your values, how do you look at life. And this in connection with the King of Cups, it's very important this coming week that we really deal with our emotions as mature as possible, especially things that come out concerning our values, And this is also with the Two of Cups about healing. And I've talked in my Dutch video about a conversation I had with a very dear friend of mine yesterday. And she was talking about that because we are multidimensional beings, more of our parts from other lifetimes are returning now. And that can be very heavy. That can feel very fearful in a way. I also mentioned that the last few nights. Well, last night it wasn't that bad, but the nights before that, I would wake up, I would scream. I thought I was going to die. It was very strange sensations, and I couldn't explain it. That's why I was talking about that with her, and she also explained, well, this has to do with past lifetimes coming back, so also times that you actually died and it's now being integrated. So it's very possible, especially when you're very sensitive, that you're feeling that now as well, and maybe at nights it would come out. At least that's when things come out with me. I was laughing a little bit because, well, at least last night I didn't scream that much, but the night before that, it was horrible. I would just wake up screaming. I thought everything was collapsing onto me, and I was suddenly in a very dark cell. It was very strange to experience. And I live in a very small little house, teeny tiny, and it's all, of course, the neighbors are very close. So I hope my neighbor didn't hear me screaming at night. It's not great to wake up like that. So I hope I didn't hear anything from her. So I think I'm all right. Well, last night it wasn't that bad, but still I would jump out and suddenly in the middle of the night in panic, thinking something happened. So these are all energies coming back, and they all need to be embraced. And the more we know how to say open to dealing with them in a mature way, the easier ultimately it will get. But these are, of course, experiences that being very tough, and dark things could come out in yourself, or being triggered, fears, deep pains, deep-seated anger, things like that. So really be prepared this week to deal with that. I think we are really in that time period now that these things are really coming out. We need to become one again in essence, in ourselves, to really embrace everything so we can step into our power. So this is what I've got, and hope to see you in another video. Bye.